Bear Independent, brief, 10 October 25. The federal government shutdown that began 1 October is costing the economy roughly $15 billion per week. Luckily, that's all make-believe money that has no actual value anyway. According to the National Economic Council Director, Kevin Hassett, around 750,000 federal employees have been furloughed, while another 700,000 are working without pay. On top of that, the White House has released a memo indicating it intends to disregard a 2019 law requiring back pay for furloughed workers. At the heart of the shutdown is a fight over enhanced tax credits for health insurance purchased through the Affordable Care Act marketplaces. Admitting my biases here, that stuff's trash. Obamacare's communism. The US dollar's lost 10% of its purchasing power this year alone, and insurance companies have been quietly going bankrupt for at least the last 24 months. Just no one's been talking about it, which is part of why insurance premiums continue to go up. These credits, enhanced tax credits, funded by the government since 2021, in other words, subsidized with your taxpayer dollars, are set to expire at the end of the year. Senate Democrats refused to vote for a Republican short-term funding bill that didn't include renewal of the tax credits, while House Speaker Mike Johnson said Republicans won't negotiate on the issue. Quote, "Don't ask the Republicans what we should be doing or what we should be negotiating. I don't have anything to negotiate. I sent them, in good faith, exactly what they voted for before," end quote, Johnson told reporters. The expiration of these subsidies will hit Americans hard. By the way, stay tuned. In this bit of programming here, in just a couple of minutes, we have your national intel. I know that the economy doesn't really excite me either. I don't really care about the American Care Act and all that horse shit. I'm self-insured with my wallet, and not because I'm rich, but because I can't afford to pay for health insurance anyway. And that's as a guy that's got 4 companies and 2 ministries. We're going to get to national intel here in a minute. The expiration of these subsidies will hit Americans hard. Wah. Analysis from KFF shows average monthly premiums could jump to $1,904 per month, up from $888 this year, a 114% increase hitting people overnight. In California, Governor Newsom warned that premiums for nearly 2 million residents enrolled in Covered California will increase by an average of 97%, with some costs more than tripling. Kevin Patterson, CEO of Connect for Health Colorado, said, quote, "Those notices going out and the big jumps in folks' premiums is going to be a shock to a lot of families, and that's the thing that we are seriously concerned about right now," end quote. Listen, there's war coming. There's very likely domestic civil unrest, which would be putting it mildly, coming. You should start focusing on your wellness for 1,000 different reasons right now, regardless of what insurance might cost. There are myriad alternative methods. Just because it's not approved by the FDA or the American College of Surgeons or whatever doesn't mean there aren't alternative medicines and alternative treatment protocols out there for major illness and disease as well. And if nothing ever pops off, and I hope to God that it never pops off, you should be around for as long as possible to spend as much quality time and teach as much as you can to the people that you love. So, insurance premiums, wah. Our most recent child, we paid cash at the hospital. Had a midwife, but we did it at the hospital. I paid cash for that. It actually, to have a baby at the hospital costs less than a shitty used car. I know, but you got to have the cash in the first place, even as the dollar's weakening. So we are in a bust your ass for all the right reasons season of life right now. And I know it's a lot. You got to feed your family, pay your bills, take care of yourself, get the appropriate amount of sleep, move your body, get strong, get fast, get limber, get healthy, on top of everything else that's happening out there in the world. I know, it's a lot, but we were fearfully and wonderfully made for this time. Okay, the Father didn't make a mistake when he put us into this season. So we should begin to live up to the expectation that he has He, the Creator, has for us, because he put us into this situation, which means we're capable of it. It might be uncomfortable, but we're capable of it. Blah, 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 tax credits, blah, 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 don't give a shit. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, blah, blah, blah. She's for more ACA because her kids can't afford health care. Don't give a shit. National polling, blah, 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 blah. The additional uncertainty stemming from the government shutdown is just one straw the camel's back as gold prices have surged to record highs, topping $4,000 an ounce on 7 October. As of the time of this recording, silver is up over 50 bucks. Spot price yesterday was 53.11 from JM Bullion. So silver's going up as well. This is not investment advice. I don't have that shit figured out either. Okay, I'm just some random white dude from Oklahoma. If I had billions of dollars in precious metals, believe me, things would look a lot different, okay? That's not my bailiwick. Every time I buy crypto, I've lost my ass with crypto 3 times, right? I'm not the guy. I'm not the guy for that. I'm the guy for work real hard. I'm not the guy for financial advice. Once you make a shit ton of money, you talk to somebody else. Right now, I'm going to motivate and inspire you to make a shit ton of money. And once you get there, I'm not your guy anymore. You go talk to somebody else about that. 53% on gold this year alone outpaces the S&P 500's 15% increase. The political uncertainty has actually weakened the US dollar by 9% against other currencies this year. Really, the political uncertainty is what did that. I'm sure it has nothing to do with the fact that, a third of all US dollars in circulation have been printed in the last 5 years. And 87% of statistics are made up, right? Let's see. The political uncertainty has actually weakened the US dollar by 9% against other currencies this year. In the words of International Monetary Fund head Kristalina Georgieva, that's a hot sounding name, Dud. Either like a gymnast name, one or the other. Kristalina Georgieva. Speaking on the mounting global economic risk, quote, buckle up, uncertainty is the new normal. No shit, Kristalina. Uncertainty is the new normal. Now, this government shutdown, remember this. These are all the talking points, okay? But they're the talking points of the narrative that they want us to argue about. Left, right, red, blue, fascist, communist versus patriot American. That's the narrative that they craft to spin as cover for action, to get everybody spun up so that we're arguing over this shit. Oh, now the American Affordable Care Act and this price and that price. And but, sure. It's being done intentionally. This government shutdown was sought. It's in Trump's best interest to intentionally have the government shut down because he can do a lot from a staffing purview right now without any recourse from the Democrats whatsoever. And Trump loves to just stick the knife in and turn it a little bit. He's a phenomenal shit talker. And he said, we're cutting only Democrat programs. Just if you're a Democrat and you have a program, we're gonna cut it. We're just gonna cut it off. No more funding for you. And he can. But it's even more so than that, because I want you to think back the last 10, 20, 30, 40 years. Go to NAFTA, North American Free Trade Association, the AMCA, is that what it is? The trade agreement with Mexico, blah, 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 blah. We've had Biden was not the first president bought and paid for by China. He was one of them, but certainly not the first ones. Think of just everything that's happened in the last 5 years. We have enemies, millions of, embedded in this country with our air quote representatives, duly elected representatives, bought and paid for by other countries, operating in the best interest of other countries, not the people that they represent. We've known this for decades. It's beginning to come to a head, but we've known this for decades. Of course. Homemade gummy bear. Of course, we want to gut as much of that as we can during a government shutdown. At the same time that the Department of War is rebranding from DOD to DOW and is preparing for war. We're going to get to the national intel here next. So we want to, when I say we, I'm including myself collectively in Trump's ambitions during this government shutdown. I don't have a dog in the fight. You see where I live. Doesn't mean the bad shit isn't gonna happen here too. It will, but it's gonna happen here later than it does Chicago, New York, Miami, Houston, Dallas, San Antonio, San Francisco, LA, Miami, Portland. You catch my drift? Okay. Memphis. So there's a conflict coming, and preparation is being made below the threshold of detection at every level within the federal government. And there's absolutely a lot of loyalty tests that are going on right now. That's insider information. Don't tell anyone. Okay, cool. Bonus intel, intel@bearindependent.com. Bear, what's the email address? Intel@bearindependent.com. How do I spell that? You don't get to provide intel to Bear Independent if you can't spell intel@bearindependent.com. You're so facetious. I know. By the way, as always, show's brought to you by the wonderful people over on Patreon, the creator of the universe, and refugemedical.com, because I'm probably going to forget to say that later. You're a shill. Yeah, for my shit, 100%. Yeah, because that's how I stay in business, like everybody else. You want American-made, guaranteed forever, the best first aid kits on planet Earth? And you want me to continue to provide intel to you about who's buying up, hoovering up medical components around the world? Yeah, refugemedical.com. That's how we stay in business. Family owned, made in America, guaranteed forever. Obviously, people of deep faith. Bonus intel. First time writing in with what I believe something to take note of. For context, my wife is an RN, registered nurse. Her best friend and former coworker is now pretty high up in the hospital management and is tasked with, quote, nursing and software integration. They're currently implementing Palantir to help with charting and tracking patient data. The other day, she mentioned to us, now wait a minute, I thought Palantir also had a government contract. It's all the same shit. It's different buckets, but it's all the same shit. They're all different buckets, but they're all stored in the same shed, okay? Currently implementing Palantir to help with charting and tracking patient data. The other day, she mentioned to us that her hospital is slated for beta testing nurse and doctor body cams to help AI with how patient interactions work, training and liability prevention. Yep, so the reason that they are doing this is AI is built on what are called LLMs, large language models, and they need as much data into the LLM. It's programming 101, garbage in, garbage out. And I don't pretend to know a whole bunch about this stuff, because I don't, but I'm trying to get up to speed as quickly as I can, because AI is coming whether we like it or not. Shit, it's already here. And if it's already here in the public sector, above the threshold of detection, how long has it been in the private sector? Okay, how long has it been in the DOD? There is a rock on my left ass cheek that is just wearing me out right now. That's okay, it's keeping me spicy. Let's see. As a Lord of the Rings fan, I knew the name Palantir, same spelling, was eyes that are always watching. I don't believe in coincidence. Shalom, brother. Shalom. It's Hebrew for peace. What's up? It's like Hawaiian, like aloha, right? What are you, a Jew? What are you, retarded? No, Christ is king. Why do you say Jew words? Hebrew isn't Jewish, dumbass. My wife is currently an AIT for the Army, for the MOS 68 Kilo, laboratory specialist. They have fully switched their field exercises to focus entirely on the practice of walking blood banks. Wow, Dud, it's almost like we recorded a video, what was it, 3 weeks ago? The coming war with China, with the red background, that all the dumbasses are like, look at this Satanist with the red background, and he's got a pentagon logo. Don't you penta 5 like pentagram? Also retarded. But although thank you for being retarded, because then your head pops up like a game of whack-a-mole and then I get to schwack it, block, ban, delete. The tomfoolery, the time for utter retardation at this level is over. You will die. You will die within the next 24 months if you can't pull your head out of your ass and think critically, okay? But it's almost like, Dud, we talked about walking blood banks 3 weeks ago. You know, I see this shit on Twitter all the time. Breaking! Something that I've been talking about for 7 years. No shit. Well, it's breaking now? Okay. Breaking. All right, whatever.
Everything that you're talking about was already brought to us in 1966. Star Trek.
Star Trek.
because Star Trek is what invented all of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You have the doors when you walk up and
Yeah.
and they open.
Yeah.
You didn't get those at supermarkets till the 80s.
Yeah, now we got them at grocery
Yeah.
stores.
Then we got all different types of weapons. We have iPads like they did,
Mm-hmm.
and now with the body cams scanning patients,
Yep.
that's going to be what Doc had, the scan over your body and be able to tell everything that's wrong with you.
That's cool. Or is it? So, and then here's another thing people say. It's public disclosure. The Satanists, they have to tell you what they're doing in order, per their laws, in order for it to be illegal for them to do it. No, you're also retarded. How would I know? Because before I was a follower of Christ, I played drums in satanic metal bands for a decade. Okay? I'm well familiar with the doctrines on that side of the fence as well. By the way, it is not possible for you to win a war against the creator of the universe. All right? So I've been on both teams. No, there's nothing in there that says you have to tell the sheeple what you're going to do to them. That's just some bullshit that a line that somebody came up with years ago, and they've just been perpetuating over and over and over again. In fact, it violates basic rules of how you're going to plan an ambush: speed, surprise, violence of action. Why? You don't have to tell the bad guys, hey, we're coming, y'all get ready. Anyway, 68 Kilo, laboratory specialist, they've fully switched their field exercises to focus entirely on the practice of walking blood banks. Her entire foot stomp. Do you know how to do a walking blood bank? Is everybody in your team, everybody in your group, have you done Eldon blood typing cards? Do you know what your blood type is? You can get those at refugemedical.com, or you can, even better, go donate blood and they will tell you if you don't know, okay? What is everybody's blood type? Who can receive what blood from whom? Okay. Who amongst you, here's a question, is pure blood? And who isn't? Do you have the ability to do field transfusions? It's not that hard, but you got to have the stuff to do it with, and all that stuff's consumable, unless you want bloodborne illness, which I don't recommend. Walking blood banks. Her entire team of instructors and drill sergeants are focused daily on frontline medical care practices with a heavy emphasis on phlebotomy, that's poking holes in your veins, it's tube stuff, and walking blood bank practices that will be necessary if and when war kicks off. You were right about what you mentioned from the DARPA call. As far as my wife and I can tell from her level as someone in training, the focus is fully on prolonged field care and other practices needed for near-peer conflict. Prolonged field care is what we do in the field with casualties when we don't have TRAFFICking, tactical combat casualty care. That's for the first hour, and TRAFFICking assumes we have the golden hour where we get from the point of injury to a higher level of care within the first 60 minutes, which assumes that we have air superiority, we have communications, we have logistics, mobility. If we don't have any of that, we work S-March-E, security, massive hemorrhage, airway management, respiratory management, circulation, head injury, hypothermia, expose, evaluate, evacuate, elevate. We work all of that, and then we immediately dip over into prolonged field care. Well, what's the difference, Bear? How come you haven't taught us that yet? Because you guys aren't on Patreon yet. At some point, I'll populate that out to Gem Pop. Next, hey y'all, it's Sober Party from the Cubicle. Getting hit with 2 to 3 emails a day from lenders everywhere regarding changes, updates, and procedural things due to the government shutdown, notably private flood insurance. Higher premiums for secondary insurance on a property will be astronomical. That affects loan qualifications and trickles down from there due to disposable income per month ratios. I wonder, I'm just presupposing here, I wonder if that has anything to do with Ben Davidson, Space Weatherman, and the potential for the Earth to shift on its axis, causing widespread flooding. And the magnetic excursion of the North Pole. Next, I design and build rugged, pay attention to this. You should pay attention to all of it. You should also share the show with people that you love, because that's the only way that we grow, okay? Okay, and a special shout out to all of you that do share the show with people that you love. I appreciate you deeply. That's the only way that we grow. I design and build rugged digital communication systems, mesh and MANET systems. I'm an incredibly small but niche manufacturer. My comms gear runs open source software and has not been developed under DARPA or other Fed funds either. Redacted are all caps, heavily invested in my systems, all caps, at scale across Europe and Africa. I can't give specific details, but the premise is that they are genuinely concerned of an imminent ground war in Europe and Africa with significant disruption of traditional comms modalities. AKA, their normal shit ain't gonna work, so they gotta get some abnormal shit that hopefully will work. They are so concerned that they are actively getting quotes from me for thousands of radio units across both infrastructure and portable lines. My radio gear operates at power levels and duty cycles far beyond what is legally useful in both of those regions, but they are planning for war contingencies, a without rule of law situation. The rules of RF are actively being considered null and void in those AOs as far as purchasing and using this gear goes. Their timeline to be spun up is by January. Now, Trump recently, I don't know if he misspoke or if he was dropping an Easter egg for everybody listening. Trump recently said, we're going to be fighting an 8-front war. An 8-front war. Okay. All right. Now, I've talked about this a little bit, and I'll try and be brief here, 30 to 60 seconds. I'll be quick on the 9. All right. Domestically here, that's 1 front. Southeast Asia, that's 2. Europe, that's 3. Scandinavia, that's 4. Northern Africa, that's 5. Central America is 6. South America is 7. Southern Africa is 8. Note that I begin with domestically here. Domestically here. Now, how do you take the United States with the world's largest ever expeditionary military force? Not head to head, whether you're China or you're Russia or Iran, North Korea. But when China moves east across the Pacific, bad guys move south. So now be geolocated over the United States of America. Bad guys from south of the border move north. The embeds that are already here go hot. Well, China moves east across the Pacific to the western coast of the United States of America and Canada, while Russia, now already in Ukraine, if they can. There are lots of ifs and caveats here. I'm not saying this plan would work, but I'm saying it's one of the plans. While Russia moves west through Ukraine into Eastern Europe and then north up into Scandinavia as well, at the same time that you have Northern Africa then push up into the Middle East, and you have, is Turkey really a NATO member? Move south and east into the Middle East, and everything everywhere all at once. And it's not just guns and planes and tanks and bombs. It's also cyber exploits. It's also attacks on critical infrastructure, physical and cyber attacks on critical infrastructure, which takes all municipal services offline. Because if there's no electricity, there's no water, there's no sewer, there's no internet, there's no communications, there's no fuel being pumped, which means there's no logistics, there's no hospitals, so there's no med. So everything falls apart all at once, while at the same time you have domestic sleeper cells here going hot, causing chaos without any communication. Yeah, if I was the bad guy, that's what I'd do, and 1,000 other things on top of that. Their timeline is to be spun up by January. Next, a close family friend just told us that their son has been deployed by the Illinois National Guard to support ICE in Chicago. It's a 60-day deployment, and it consists of 300 guardsmen. This deployment could be extended. I guess the Insurrection Act is not too far off, as our garbage governor is in open rebellion. I work for a large electric and gas installation company with a ton of work in Chicago and the suburbs. I support the crews with rental equipment. We've been told by portable toilet companies that they will not be delivering to certain areas due to riots and protests. Pinch it off, boys. You're just going to have to wait till you get home or wait till you get to the gas station. No poo-poo on a job site for you. Boss makes $1, I make a dime. That's why I shit on company time. Not anymore. Not anymore, you don't. No porta potty for you. Next, I've been a volunteer firefighter in Central Virginia since 2002. Held positions from cadet to assistant chief. Bear talks a lot about being your own first responder and that you will be at 100% of your own emergencies. And that's true. It's also true that agencies are understaffed and overworked. But what I rarely hear mentioned here or anywhere else is the fact that volunteer agencies are dying. Sir, ma'am, zer, shim, furry, whatever you are, I don't want to assume your gender. I don't mean to offend you. I have all the way talked about this and been talking about it for 7 years. Now, granted, I have almost 8,000 pieces of content out, so it's quite possible that you missed it. But from a community standpoint, a training standpoint, an intelligence gathering standpoint, and a skill set building standpoint, I have all the way recommended that you get involved with volunteer fire departments, that you get involved with your ambulance corps, your county CERT teams, whoever you can, your search and rescue teams. So I'll recommend that again. But I rarely hear mentioned here or anywhere else is the fact that volunteer agencies are dying. They're dying due to a lack of volunteers, which causes counties to be forced to hire staffing for those EMS positions. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but what it is a missed opportunity. It's an opportunity for people to help their community, an opportunity to get trained in emergency medical situations, get trained and practice in high-stress scenarios regularly. That way, when you're at your own emergency, you can think clearly and calmly. Without training, you will not rise to your level of expectation. Yeah, you fall to your level of training, which is something that I've discussed ad nauseum at this channel. It gives you the opportunity to know in detail what is going on in your AO, and it gives you the chance to meet other first responders, the salt of the earth. Asterisk. We need to quit pretending that everybody that has a badge is a good guy. We also need to quit pretending that everybody has a badge is a bad guy, okay? There are plenty of great law enforcement officers, EMS, and firefighters, and there's plenty of total shitbags. And if you're in any of those careers, you know what I'm telling you is true. You see all the time, like, thin blue line, I support the cops. I do, asterisk. I train a lot of cops, and a bunch of them are bad. And I don't mean just from a technical expertise standpoint, because we can train through that. I mean, they're crooked, they're corrupt, or they don't give a shit. And it's the same thing in firefighting. It's the same thing in EMS. So there's good and bad everywhere that you go. And so blanket supporting, I support the idea, the concept of law enforcement, EMS, and firefighters, 100%. But there's always going to be douchebags inside of every organization. And I've met hundreds of them training people across the country. That some of them are just terrible. So respect is something that's earned, not given on an individual basis. While I have respect and admiration for the career path, the individual in that career path doesn't de facto get my respect until they've proven that they've earned it. Because a lot of these people are absolute shitbags. Not all of them, not even the majority of them, but a lot of them. And a lot of them are also the salt of the earth, some of the best people that you've ever met. Look for a volunteer agency in your area, a rescue squad, or a fire department. I'd bet money that they need help and they will pay for your training, and if you show any interest, they will love to have you on board. I'll also tell you here, in eastern Oklahoma, I have, myself personally, provided training and kits. There are 30 volunteer fire departments within 50 miles of where I'm sitting right now. At my cost, training and kits. 2 of them accepted. The other 28 failed to file the paperwork in time and lost out on tens of thousands of dollars in value worth of training and kits that Refuge was giving them because they couldn't be bothered to do the paperwork. So one of the things that volunteer departments struggle with is a lack of professionalism as well. You don't have to be corporate about it. But dude, sign the paper and remit it by this date if you want $28,000 worth of free training and kits. Oh, well, Tina, it was sitting on her desk and I guess she just didn't get it out in the mail. Okay, cool. Now, this is my experience speaking. It doesn't necessarily apply to all departments, but, you know, a little bit of professionalism goes a long way. Stay safe out there, Bayer Nation, and stay ready to answer the call. I agree with that. Been with you guys over 5 years and I've heard your reports. I never thought I'd be giving one. So I work in the sound booth at Lev Hashem Messianic Synagogue. Now, what are you, a Jew? No, Messianic, Messiah, okay? Synagogue in Las Vegas. Shameless plug for anyone that would like to worship in Las Vegas. Lev Hashem Messianic Synagogue in Las Vegas. So yesterday, Sukkot, I was in the sound booth. We're getting ready for the service when I noticed our head of security signal me to get our president's attention. I did as requested and they left and conversed. To my surprise, they leaned in the door and signaled for me. Seems we had a Las Vegas Metro captain contact our security to say they have verified a credible threat to Lev Hashem tonight. Geez, so no filming tonight. They know I pack heavy, and I was asked to suit up. Needless to say, it was intense. We had some unmarked cars also from Metro, but it was weird. One other guy they recruited signaled a threat, and the heart rate went up. All through service, it was intense. 6 years in the Marine Corps and all that training comes back. Long story short, it absolutely can happen to you. Keep your rifle and your med kit handy. You can tell who those guys are. They want something to happen. Idiots. Love everything about you guys. Stay safe. Chag Sameach Sukkot, brother. Next, we've got a lot of intel. Intel at bearindependent.com. I appreciate y'all, boys and girls, sending in your boots on the ground reports. It's way more credible to me than, did you see what was on CNN or Fox News or what insert conservative, air quote, conservative talking head on social media said about this shit? I'd rather know what you guys think. I have a friend that does some contracting work around here in Huntsville, Alabama. Huntsville, Alabama? No way. Werner von Braun, NASA? You mean Werner von Braun, the guy that built the V2 rockets that Germany was bombing Britain with? That guy? Huh. And on his headstone, he talks about the firmament? That's crazy. That dude, who was an avowed Nazi that the Americans brought here in Project Paperclip? Sorry, didn't bring enough tinfoil with me into the woods today. I have a friend that does some contracting work here around Huntsville, Alabama. And one of the sites he visits is a company that makes missiles for the DOD, or the DOW, whatever they call themselves now. Huh, in Huntsville, Alabama? That's crazy. He told me by the way, Huntsville, Alabama, if you live in and around Huntsville, Alabama, you are a tier 1 target when this thing kicks off. I'd have a place to go that's not in Huntsville unless you feel like glowing in the dark. He told me a few months ago, but it's Huntsville, Alabama. It's not Miami. If I blow up Miami, I kill a bunch of people. If I blow up Huntsville, I take away technical capability to fight my enemies. Yeah, okay. He told me a few months ago that they're getting busy, but he told me yesterday that they're nearly doubling production of munitions, specifically THAAD missiles for missile intercept systems. Not sure if they are frontline use, Iron Dome, or in preparation for America's Golden Dome. The company is called blank. Just please don't mention the company name. Just wanted to let you all know so you can verify. Also, at my work, we build commercial industrial refrigeration units. This is super interesting. A friend of mine just showed me some schematics for a very unusual unit, and the customer was the DOD. By the way, the DOD is yet again entering another phase of where they are buying everything. 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 So there will be competition for limited resources yet again. So acquire what you need when you can. Don't go into debt. We're not there yet. It's not burn the Amex to the ground time yet. But get what you need while you can get it. It is a large unit where the style of the unit is primarily for quickly freezing and defrosting small warehouse-sized spaces. Field expedient morgues, anyone? One of the things that makes this unit unusual is that the frame is not the usual frame held together with rivets, but instead out of the highest quality frame that is one solid piece welded together. The person who showed me this has never seen a schematic like this. I used to be an Army combat medic, and this unit seems to me like something that is meant to be semi-mobile, and that is why the frame is more hardcore. Personally, I think it's either for a blood bank, or chow hall for a fob, or maybe a morgue. I can email more details if you're interested once we start building it. Yes, please. That would be wonderful. Don't get your ass in a sling. But yes, please. That would be great. In better news, I am blessed to read the Bible with a friend of mine on lunch most days. We are starting in Matthew and reading through the gospel, and he has a lot of questions about Jesus and salvation. The Lord's working on him, and it's an honor to be a part of it. I'm glad the kingdom that matters moves even when the world gets spooky. Amen. Y'all take it easy, and may the Lord bless you guys and keep you and make his face to shine upon you. Oh, Numbers chapter 6, the Aaronic blessing. Bless you, brother. Next, I work in a factory making sub and aircraft carrier parts. On-site security has ramped up way fast in the last 5 years. They have 4 times the number of security personnel and have added a ton of cameras. They have stocked fuel and large generators to run the facility in case we lose power so we can still work. They have stocked fuel and large generators in case they lose power. They have stocked fuel and large generators in case we lose power. Is that enough foot stomp? Are people paying attention? They also have hired people like crazy, expanding from about 600 to over 1,000 people in 3 shifts. This is also over the last 5 years. Many of these new employees don't have anything to do currently, but we are told a lot more work is coming. In this economy, hiring people that have nothing to do, that's an indicator there's more work coming. The cost to float that many people. I work with a few Marine reservists who are stationed together. All 3 of them have mentioned next year their command plans on deploying them for the longest reserve deployment possibly in their history. Normally, they are sent out for 2 to 4 weeks in summer for training. Next year, the plan is 6 months into the Pacific. Gosh dang, where have I heard this before? They didn't have any other details besides being prepared for a long deployment next year, 2026. Wow. All right. Boys and girls, let us not get wrapped up in our confirmation bias. However, when all the lights on your dashboard are blinking, you should probably check the engine, okay? And all the lights on the dashboard are blinking. That's the show for today. Again, patreon.com. Go to bearindependent.com. You'll find us there. It's $10 a month. We just did Pelt last night, Patreon exclusive live stream Thursday. 2.5 hours of live Q&A weekly about all these things, plus a whole bunch of pre-recorded content. It's the best $10 a month you can spend on the internet. It's not an I like me, you should like me too and give me money page. The whole point of it is to provide overwhelming value to you. And yes, it's behind a paywall, because just like going to a bar on Friday night, they charge a little bit of a cover charge. It helps keep the riffraff out. And biblically, a workman is worth their hire. And we put a lot of effort into Patreon. Refuge Medical, speaking of something we put a lot of effort into. Listen, massive amounts of medical capability is being requested into the Middle East, Northern Africa, and Central Europe right now. Massive amounts. At the same time that this stuff is being hoovered up by the DLA, Defense Logistics Agency. Those are what we call indicators. It has always been my goal to take military quality and not just, it's mil spec. Our shit exceeds military specification by a lot. That's why there's innumerable soft guys running around with Refuge, Bearfax, and SOBs and OpFax, not the shit that they were issued, okay? To take those concepts and bring them down, boil them down, and pass them to you for the preservation of life. Get what you can while you can. Made in America, guaranteed forever. 158 lives saved to date. And I get emails from people every day that are like, Bear, thank you so much for what you do. I didn't know anything about trauma medicine. I bought a kit. I took the online webinar, or I watched your free trauma medicine playlist. And I was like, man, I hope I never have to use this stuff. And then car wreck. And I was able to save somebody's life because I had the kit and I had the training. Praise the Most High. That's the whole point. It's preservation of life. That's my involvement with the DOD. It's not to make a shit ton of money. I live in Oklahoma. There's actually gold in these hills. I'm not even kidding. Like, there are better ways to make money than commoditized pre-hospital trauma medicine components. Okay, it's preservation of life. That's what I'm doing with DOD too. So how do we keep these people alive in this coming conflict? It's a big deal. And I'm trying to sprinkle breadcrumbs for you, if you have eyes to see and ears to hear, so you can do the same thing without betraying the confidences of the people that I'm working with on the high side. Okay? So I'm trying to push out as much as I can on the low side so that you will take me seriously and do the things that you need to do for the preservation of life. Now, if there's anything that we can help you with there, refugemedical.com, call the store, shoot us an email, use the chat on the website. We'll be happy to help in any way that we can, whether you need a gauze pad or 43 field hospitals. Yes, somebody just requested 43 field hospitals. That's what we call an indicator, okay? So, love you guys, appreciate you guys. Share the show. I'll see y'all when I see you.